So 4.16 is pretty damn close to what we're expecting, which is 4.01. So you can buy these little packets online. You get a 4.01, a 6.86 and a 9.18. The whole idea is you calibrate the pH meter across a range of pHs, so you've got a linear response when you're measuring the wort. Obviously the wort is down on the lower end here between 4 and 6.86, but I also do the 9 just for completion. So what they need is 250 ml of deionized water. Yeah, I do have some deionized water here. So this just came. Actually, I think I got this from Morrison's supermarket here in the UK. But I guess any car. It's designed for car batteries or iron. So this is only a couple of pounds. So cheap and easy. So what you need is 250 ml for the complete solution of the packet as such. So I weigh the water out in grams. So I've got the scale here, so set that on 10. I don't know if you can read the scale here. So I'm just going to pour in 250 grams, which is exactly 250 millilitres. So .71. I think for this accuracy that I need, that'll be pretty good. So 250 ml of water, and then let's empty this packet into it. And there's a little bit there falling out already, so let's get all of it in there. So this is the 4.01. Let's make sure we've got it all in there. There's nothing left in the packet here. Nah, that's pretty much all out. Okay. So I'm going to put that together. Now these jars are just normal jam jars. I did swill them out with a bit of RO water and let them dry. So just now going to let that dissolve in there while I do the same thing with the next one. And I've now we've got 3 new solutions. Just let them dissolve, and I'm going to put the date on this. It's the 30th of the 1st, 25. Now this might be a long while before this video gets out there. 30th of the 1st, 25. 31, 25. That way, in a couple of months' time, I'll change those over. I just bought these online. I think there's 5 or 6 of each of them. That should last me a year or so. It's only a few pounds, so every 2 or 3 months, make up some new solutions. Or if I run out of them, I make some more up. These might take a while to dissolve, so let's just keep them shaking about. So that'll sit there. The calibration solutions, I think, are now fully dissolved. There's a few bubbles in there, but I can't see any of the powder still left as a solid. So they took about half an hour to fully dissolve with a shake every so often. But I'm pretty sure they're all now dissolved. Okay, I've also got a little beaker here. What's it? A 25 ml beaker. This is what I use to do the calibration with. I don't put the pH meter in the solution because that could contaminate it. Put a little bit of solution in here and calibrate in this small beaker. So I've just rinsed that out. I've just rinsed it out with a little bit more RO water again, so that's in a neutral state and not affected by anything, cleaning solutions or anything that I've used on it. Just wipe it out with a bit of a cloth. Okay. So here goes. Let's start with the one in the middle, or shall I start at the bottom end? Now let's start at the 4 and then go up. So just give that an extra shake. Make sure that's all dissolved in there. And we're just going to so it's going to put a small amount in first, just to rinse out that. If there's any other residual water in there that might be diluting anything, throw that away. And then put in small amounts, probably just less than the 15 ml mark. That should be enough, but let's see. So pH probe, just going to shake off any residual water on there. Try not to smack the probe on the sink, and then we'll get it into the solution. Now you can see there the probe. I'll bring it up to the camera. The probe is fully submerged in the buffer solution. Now I've always been told don't turn the pH meter on until it is in a liquid. So we'll turn that on and let's see, can we see the reading? So we've got 4. We may move the camera around here so we can actually see this a bit better. Here we go. So we've got a 4.16 and a 22.8 degrees C. So 4.16 is pretty damn close to what we're expecting, which is 4.01. So I'm just going to let that sit. Let's give it a bit of a swivel around. Let's just let that sit. As you can see, it's slightly changing, but relatively stable. So let's go for a calibration. So press and hold. Goes into cal mode. So there we are, 3.99, 4, 4.01. Can we just see that's better? That's sitting there, very stable. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Oh, just changed a little bit. You've got to expect some variation, but for 4.01, 4.02 I'm happy with. Okay, so once again I have rinsed out the little beaker with some RO water, put a small amount of 6.86 in it, rinsed that out, so hopefully we've got a clean beaker, and then filled it up with about 15 ml of the buffer solution. So let's get the pH meter in this, give it a bit of a swivel around, hopefully get it stable. And we're looking for 6.86 in this instance. So it's steadily rising. Let's just wait until that gets to a stable number. So See, I am expecting some calibration to be required because we've made some adjustments. Now this calibration meter has ATC, it's a temperature compensation. That's only a temperature compensation for calibration and not for measurements. That is something that needs to be bared in mind when using pH meters with automatic temperature compensation. It's only applied, well, from as far as I'm aware, it's only applied in the calibration process and not for measurements. So that's pretty stable at 6.51. So let's perform a cal. Six 6.87. Let's just let that sit, see if it stays stable. Pretty happy with that. Let's go on to the next one. So just the process of stripping between the elements. So I'm turning the pH probe off because it's coming out of liquid. I'll just sit that in some RO water while we're in between. So I'm going to throw away that buffer solution. That's been contaminated. Probably not, but let's just make that assumption. Let's put a little bit of RO water in there. Try and rinse that out. Try and get all that buffer solution out. Give that a bit of a shake. Now we're on 9.18. Again, just a little bit of the solution in the bottom there. Just swizzle that around, just to kind of coat the surfaces and try and remove any of that residual other buffer or water out of there. Again, about 15 ml in there. As you can see, we've got 250 ml of this, so we should have plenty for more calibrations. pH meter out of the water, shake it dry as best we can, get it into the solution. Let it sit there for a minute. Okay, so pH meter on, now it's in solution. So we're looking for 9.18, steadily rising up. Getting there, 9.15, 9.17, 9.18. It'd be great if it stays there. 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, that's slowly rising. Let's just give that plenty of time to stabilize, temperature-wise and pH-wise. Steadily rising. It's gone back up. It's flickered between 25, 9.25, 9.26. Oh, there we go, 9.27. Still rising. 2.9, still rising there. 3.0. Just agitate the probe in the liquid a little bit, just make sure it gets all on the electrode. Okay, that's interesting. Let's brought that back down. No, 9.2728. So we're stabilizing around that 9.31. Still rising. Just going to leave this a good few minutes and I'll come back to you. So we stabilised down at 9.35. Oh, 9.34. 33, 32. That's calling me a liar, isn't it? Okay. This There's a slight bit of movement on that, isn't there? I'm not overly worried because it's at the higher end of the scale we don't normally use, but let's just calibrate that. I think what I'm going to do after we've finished this calibration, I am going to recheck it down at the level of a 4, probably the 4 and the 6.86 again. Just to check, we've done the calibration, just to check that it is still holding down the lower end where it's more important. That's still a little high. Let's run that through the cal again. So we're looking for 9.18, 9.23, a little high, but as it's at the end of the calibration, end of the pH range that we're not using, I'm not overly concerned about the inaccuracy, hence why I'm going to try down at the lower end again. So I'll come back to you when I get down there. So we've put some 4.01 pH in here this time. So we've got the pH meter back in, and let's turn it on. And okay, it's coming a little high. It is dropping back down again. Now I assume because we've been measuring a high pH previously, the electrode needs time to respond to that. Bit of a shake, 3.92, we've got 9.4, 9.6. Remember, we're looking for 4.01. Now with any instruments like this, it's not an exact science. You've got to remember it's never going to be 4.01 every time. It might be 4.03, 3.98, something like that. So after calibration at all points, we're coming back to a measurement of 4.01 with the 4.01%. That's correct. 4.01 pH buffer solution. 4.02. It seems relatively stable. I'm happy with that. It's staying stable. I'm happy with that with a successful calibration. So after the calibration's finished, I'm just cleaning it, remove all that buffer solution with the meter off, removing all that buffer solution with some RO water, heavily diluting it hopefully, removing it from the probe. So that's safe to store. So once that's rinsed off, stabilize the camera. We've got the storage tube. Now you can see there's a little bit of the electrolyte solution in the bottom of there. It's maybe enough. So let's get the pH probe into the solution. And we can see when it's fully home, the solution is not high enough on the probe. It's only a little bit at the bottom there. So I'm going to put a little bit more electrolyte solution into that storage cap. So plenty of storage solution in there. Yeah, this will probably flow over the top as I put it in. I just want to make sure that electrode is fully immersed for storage. No air bubbles in there. Tiny little one there at the top there, but that's not going to bother us. So that's now safe to store and use next time we're brewing. So that was how I look after, maintain, clean and calibrate my pH meter. As I said, you can see from the results, all pretty happy with the results we got. Now I'm just going to store it away, ready for the next brew. Look after your pH meters, brewers. It's an important part of the kit. Probably next to a thermometer, the really important part of your measurements during the brew day. See you next time. Bye bye.